All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the shop today because it is time to do some service work or maintenance work on the ZFORCE 950 Sport 4. Now, if you have a ZFORCE 950 Sport, the two-seater, then you can follow this same procedure as well. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you the oil change. So like if you were doing the break-in service, your oil change, we'll kind of go over that as we film this video, but we're also gonna be doing a full service on this ZFORCE so that you can use this video for either or. So whether you're doing your first service at your home and you've ordered the oil change kit from teammscparts.com, there you have several options. You can get the CFMOTO crafted engine oil service kit. You can see that, we can ship that to you, no problem. It's gonna come with everything that you need for your CFMOTO. We also have MAXIMA service kits, and what we're going to be using today in this video is the MAXIMA complete service kit. We also have master service kits for other models and all that. So go to teammscparts.com, take the guesswork out of what you need. You can place your order, it'll get to your home, and you can follow along with this video and service your CFMOTO and take care of it like you're supposed to. You take care of your machine, it'll take care of you. We have the ZFORCE up on the lift. You do not have to have a lift at home to be able to do this. We're just gonna have it lifted up because that's how we do it here at the shop. But you can crawl up under your machine and do it yourself. Now, since we're doing a full service and we have it up on the lift, we're gonna go through and just drain all the fluids and then I will specify in the video what you need to do if you're doing just your break-in service and you're only changing your engine oil. But first, we're gonna go through and we're going to drain the rear differential fluid. And Joel, what size is that, bud?
8 millimeter.
8 millimeter Allen. And that's your rear differential here. So we're gonna drain that. Looks good, looks good. Got a little shavings there. But don't panic, don't freak out. That's not abnormal. You'll have that on any machine, especially after this is my first service on this four-seater. So you'll have that. That oil don't look bad at all, but we're gonna go ahead and change that out. And now that we're done draining the rear differential, trying to get the camera to focus there, but these have the brass or copper washers there, and those are really durable and they are reusable. You can go ahead and replace them. It never hurts to replace them every time you do this. But this one we inspected, it's fine. This is my personal unit and I'm okay with just going with it. But you've got options there at teammscparts.com and you can change that. Now on the engine oil, we'll get to it now. Are we doing it now or transmission? Engine oil? Okay, for those of you that are following this video for your break-in service, this is actually where you will start. Is right here with this big drain bolt. Now, is that a 19?
Yeah.
It's a 19 millimeter, and that's under this big cutout here in the skid plate. So whether you have the 950 four-seater or two-seater, it'll be just like this. Remember, there's a washer still on there. Now, that's not a brass washer. And that one there, you definitely want to replace. So it just fell, and that may happen, and that's okay. We're going to just clean this surface here, and we'll be replacing that drain washer.
When you look at it, show them why.
Yeah. So Joel's going to show us why you definitely want to change these out every time.
You can see right where the bolt was.
Yep.
And it's even got a flat spot. Like it cuts into the washer, so if you put it back on there and it don't sit exactly back there, it'll leak.
That's right. So it cuts into it, yes. And it won't seal back off if you try to retighten it. So you want to definitely change it out. And we have those in your complete service kit, as well as you can order extras if you want to. So we have that option there for you. We got our new washer on the drain bolt. We cleaned the drain bolt. And this is dripping a little bit more. We'll let that finish. So now we're just threading the bolt back up by hand. And then we will torque that down according to CFMOTO's recommended torque specs that you can find right in your manual. And if you were changing your engine oil only, doing the break-in service, at this point we would move on to going up to the top and taking the oil filter out. But while we have it lifted up, you can ignore this part if this is all you're doing is engine oil. But you guys that are following along for the full service, right here is your transmission bolt, the drain bolt, in front of where you drained your engine oil.
You better watch out.
It's on this side part, and it's gonna...
It shouldn't go far, but it might get on.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Well, it got on my hat there. Hey, if you want a Real Talk Power Sports hat, you can get one at realtalkpowersports.com, as well as t-shirts. So go check that out at realtalkpowersports.com. They fit good, look awesome, and I appreciate your support. We're just going to let that transmission fluid drain on out. Remember to have you a catch can underneath to catch it, because some of it will get onto the skid plate and come out in different places. Now that we've inspected our drain bolt washer there, everything's good on it. Again, you can go ahead and replace those if you'd like. Use a 17 millimeter on that, and you can torque it down, clean the area, and then we'll press on to the next step. For you guys that are doing the full service, we've moved up to the front differential, and Joel is going to drain the front diff fluid. Is that the same size as the rear?
Yep.
8 millimeter. Let that drain out. Beautiful. All right, so we'll clean our drain bolt and inspect our washer, replace it if it needs replacing. Let all that come out. Now we're just putting our drain bolt back in. And again, we're going to start that up by hand and then torque it down to the specs. Now that we've got all our fluids out, and if you were just following along for the break-in service, you would just skip from draining your engine oil to this step here. We're lowering it down just for video purposes and where we can access, but we're going to take this panel out. So you need you a good body panel clip remover, and we're going to get all these out, remove this so that we can easily get to where the oil filter cap is at, and we're going to take that off. So we've got the body panel clips removed all down the side here. There's one on the bottom right there, and then you get these two on the very top side. And man, that customer named Blake should have washed this a little better. Oh, then like a little plug for the rubber grommet right there. So you have to pull that straight out away from the machine. Now we have access to these 3 8 millimeter bolts that are holding on the oil filter cap. Your vent is also attached to there, so pay attention to that as well. Broke those loose, and now he'll just take it out by hand. 8 millimeter socket. Use a 1/4 inch drive ratchet if that's what you have access to. That's best, because that'll keep you from bowing up on it too much, because these don't, very little torque on them. You don't want to strip them out either. So we'll get those off. Remember to have a catch can of some sort underneath, because some oil will come out, as you can see right there. What's the U600 tattoo there?
You know, I used to do it like real bad,
yeah.
and people would comment, so get me a notepad or something.
Yeah. Joel still isn't using a notepad, guys. He's using his hand still to write notes. So the cap is off. Now he's going to remove the oil filter. We won't be needing that anymore. Let that drain out. It's going to make a mess, but it's okay. By the way, if you want any kind of parts cleaner that you could use to spray that off with, that won't harm your machine, you can go to teammscparts.com, and I'll try to put a link down in the description for that as well. Tons of options there for you, everything you need in one place. Matter of fact, here's one of our cleaners right here. It's the Carb cleaner, and that stuff is awesome. But you can also use parts cleaner as well. It's not as strong as the Carb cleaner, and you don't want to use Carb cleaner on everything.
Like O-rings and stuff, it'll stretch them like huge.
Yes. Don't use it on the O-ring, that's true. So, got our new oil filter. That'll come in your kit. And you'll just place that in with the rubber side in first, of course. Then we've got our little O-ring there we're going to put back in place. And then we'll thread up the 3 bolts, and remember to attach your vent line hose again. now we're just tightening up the 8mm bolts, and we'll clean around it. Be good to go. For you guys that are doing the full service as well as the break-in oil service, you'll move on to this step of getting your funnel out, and we're going to add 2.6 liters of oil. We're using the MAXIMA complete service kit for the CFMOTO that's on teammscparts.com, but you can also use the CFMOTO crafted synthetic blend oil, which is awesome. You can get that complete kit shipped to you in a nice package box with everything you need from teammscparts.com. So Joel's just adding the second bottle. So you'll do 2 fulls and then a little over a half on the third one. For those of you that, you know, never really serviced a machine or a vehicle, remember that you can always add more oil. It's way harder to take oil out, okay? So only add right there a little over a half, and then you should be good from there. Since we're doing the full service, we're not going to crank up the engine just yet. So for you guys that are doing the break-in service only, we're just going to take a pause for a second and go ahead and finish this full service. Now you want to get to the back seats here if you have a 4-seater, and if you have a 2-seater, you're just going to remove the passenger seat. So I'm going to come around to this other side. And Joel is...
You gotta do both seats.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so you gotta take both seats out, and then you just, yeah, there's a little knob you twist there.
Tab there, here.
Okay, got it. So you just pull that back plate up, out, and then up. That's gonna give you access to the transmission oil dipstick. Just gonna take that out, and we're gonna add our transmission fluid. So yeah, if you have a 2-seater, this is where you would have just taken out or lifted up your seats. Well, the 4-seater will be back here, obviously. So we'll get our clean funnel in place and add our transmission fluid. We got our MAXIMA trans fluid, and we're going to add 0.6 liters is the capacity for the transmission. So we'll add that, and then we can put our dipstick back in. So you want to just set the dipstick just in place. You can start the first thread, but no more than that, and then check your level.
Let's just see. So you can see it on. Here's the full mark all the way up to here.
I'm trying to get the focus. There we go. Yep. All right.
It for sure needs to be in between there, but it needs to be all the way to the top. And then that's just setting it down on the thread. Don't screw it in at all.
All right, there you go. So do that, don't screw it in, set it down on top, flush, and then you can check your level, make sure it's up to the top. It needs to at least be above the min line, of course, minimum. And we're good, so Joel's going to thread that back down, tighten it up, and then we can put our cover back on, and our that just pops straight down into those grommets, and then you just turn all these tabs up top in place. Boom. I should have washed it better for my boy, but we had a very dusty ride this past weekend.
I did leave this out. We got the air filter.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Crank it, then we'll check it in.
Okay. So now that we've got our transmission fluid back in, we can go ahead and crank it, and we're going to be able to check our engine oil now and make sure that it is at the proper level. All right, so now that we've let that circulate and fill up the oil filter cavity, we're going to check our oil level here on our dipstick. Also, we're making sure that there's no leakage around the oil filter cap. Make sure you didn't pinch the O-ring, and make sure that that was all mounted flush and you have no leak.
And then on the dipstick, just like the one on the transmission, this is what I was doing up there. Just
That's
setting
right.
it base down to there.
Yep. Okay, so we'll check that with a clean rag, wipe it down, put it in place, and then we'll check the level. Sorry, that light's flashing it out. All right, so we're full, we're above the min line, we're right at the top line, so we're good to go. Now, if you need to add oil, you could add that now, just a little bit at a time, and then you can check it and you should be good. So just around that 2.6 liter, maybe 2.7, you'll be good. So now that we've got that done, our transmission is done, we can put our cover back on here. And then we will fill up our front and rear differentials. For our rear differential, we're using the same size 8mm Allen head as we did on the drain bolt. And we're over here to the passenger side of the differential. That's going to have a washer as well. You can actually get the funnel and the black hose that should have came with your CFMOTO ZFORCE from your dealership, and you can use that flexible rubber hose here to be able to get your funnel in a position to pour your diff fluid in. So we got our gear oil here, MAXIMA high performance gear oil. That's what we're going to use in mine, but we have our little pump here that we use here in the shop, so we make it easy on ourselves. So one thing that Joel was stressing to me just a moment ago off camera is that some people are taking and they're filling their rear differential up until it comes out of the fill hole, and that is not what you're supposed to do on these CFMOTO ZFORCEs, and that's on the rear differential. Is the front differential different procedure?
Front until it comes out.
Okay, front differential.
Hurt it. It'll blow some out the vent line.
So what's happening is people are filling them up, and then as soon as it starts running out, they're putting their cover or their cap bolt back in. And what happens when they start going wide open down the highway or whatever, or going real fast, the diff fluid will actually pressurize in there and come up into their vent line and end up kind of spraying over the back of the machine when temperatures get hotter and a lot of movement's happening in there. CFMOTO has these dipsticks right here, and that's for the rear differential on this machine. And you just put it down in there flush, as you can see here, and then take it out and check it.
It's not touching yet.
So we're not touching yet, so we're going to keep adding. Now you can get that dipstick. I'll make sure that it is on the website. It should be at teammscparts.com. But you will need that to do it properly. Now, like Joel was saying, if you overfill it, it don't necessarily hurt it because it's going to come out through your vent line. But we want, you want to do it correctly. So get this dipstick and fill it up to the right amount where you don't have no issues of it burping out into the vent line.
Now it's up to there. That's full.
Oh yeah, so there you go. We're up to our fill line. We're definitely not over full, and we have plenty in there. So that's going to finish us up on the rear differential. Joel's going to just check it one more time, and then we'll put our bolt back in place and tighten it down. All right, so now we're here on our front differential. Again, we're on the passenger side. You have this little hole notched out in the frame there, and you just take that out with the 8mm. And it really doesn't hold a whole bunch. You can also see your capacities here on page 22 of your owner's manual, and you can see the front gear case oil is 250 milliliters, and your rear gear case is 400 milliliters. So you got that. You also have your capacity for your transmission and all that good stuff. So don't be afraid to pull out the manual and check it as well as you're doing your different procedures. So in your manual as well, while we're talking about the front and rear differential, you can go to page 163 and 164 for this procedure. They do not talk about or show the dipstick that we showed you here in our video. They just give you this capacity here of 400 milliliters. So you can measure that out and fill it up to that. But they do give a note or warning that says do not add more than recommended volume to the rear gear case. Overfilling will cause oil migration at the gear case vent tube and appear incorrectly as an oil leak. So just keep that in mind. More on our full service, as well as if you're doing a break-in service, you also want to do this as well. Go through and add grease to all of your grease fittings. And you can see that on your upper and lower A-arms. We're just gonna go through and do that for all of our bushings, as well as our sway bar joints there. You can get grease and all that good stuff also at teammscparts.com. So we're gonna go through and add a little bit to each one. All right, so we're at the back as well, and you got them on the upper and lower A-arms on the inner mounts. You're just gonna add enough to push just a tad bit out of the end of the bushing. You don't wanna overdo it. And then you can go through and clean up your mess afterwards. That way you don't have a bunch of dirt and mud sticking to it. So now that we got our front and rear differentials done, engine oil is done, and we've got everything greased, we're moving to our air filter. So again, that's behind the passenger seat. And we've taken that first cover off, and then here's the lid to the air box. Don't look horrible. Well, yeah, it's pretty bad. Okay, never mind. You can get a new one at teammscparts.com, and you can get that replaced after you inspect it. You're not supposed to use compressed air or anything to blow those out, so just keep that in mind. That's what the manufacturer recommends, and that's with any manufacturer actually. So we're gonna put our air filter in place, make sure it's sealed on there good, and then put your cover back on. So we got a freshie in there. And guys, that's just as important, if not more important, than your engine oil. You want to make sure that you're keeping that filtrated well.
More important.
Yeah, Joel says it's more important. So a lot of people kind of forget about the air filter, and once maybe your air filter gets damaged or whatever the case is, and it stops filtering like it should. I mean, your engine is ingesting dirt and dust and all that.
The oil only lasts as long as how much trash it's pulling in, and if that's dirty, that's...
Yeah, exactly. It's just
so if
destroying
this is clean, the oil's gonna last way longer.
That's right. There you go. So keep that in mind, guys. Make sure, especially like, I don't know if you've been watching the channel a lot, but we've been riding in some dusty conditions. The more dusty conditions you ride in, the more you need to check your air filter. And if you have an air filter option that you can clean, you need to do so. And then if not, you need to have extra OEM air filters on hand so that you can replace those as needed. The more dusty the environment, the more you need to check it and change it. So, all right, air filter's good. Now, one thing that Joel likes to do, he practices on his own units as well as any full service units that come into the shop, which are tons. We like to go through on any moving parts that are not greasable, and we use an oil and spray those down, and it just helps lube everything up and keeps everything in good working condition. Even does the door latches, and just goes through and checks that, as well as the gear shifter, parking brake, anything that's moving, a moving component that could be lubed, he goes through and he does that. Another thing that you can do is use a good fuel system treatment. My favorite is our 5-in-1 treatment that we have at teammscparts.com. You can see that there. I'll put a link to it down in the description. So I use that 5-in-1 treatment in everything I've got, even my vehicles. So super good stuff. You can get that and treat your fuel system as well at this point. Highly recommend you refer to your owner's manual for all of your intervals and different things you need to inspect. But of course, you want to go through, and this is a good time to clean your radiator, flush it out through the fins really well. Don't bend them, don't use a pressure washer, just flush them out, make sure that's not clogged with dirt or mud. You also check your coolant level check your brake pads, your brake rotors. Make sure that your bolts on your shocks are good and tight. You check your lug nuts. Do you a good overall inspection. Also give it a bath. That'd be good as well. But but again, guys, yeah, check your owner's manual. Go by that. You can never go wrong with that. Also, if you want the professionals to take care of it, you can come to Main Street Cycle in Tishomingo. Let them handle it for you. You can schedule a service. You can text the shop number, and the parts department will help you get that lined out, where you can come by, drop it off, get her serviced, and get back on the trails. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it was helpful for you. Remember to check out realtalkpowersports.com. You can get you a hat. You can get you, I got different color options. We got shirt options as well for you, your spouse, the kids, whatever. And that'll be cool as well. That'll really help me out. I appreciate that. And guys, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, and man, yeah, take care of your machine. It'll take care of you. Go to teammscparts.com for all of your parts and accessory needs. Come see us in Main Street Cycle if you need a new machine as well. All right, well, God bless you. As always, remember to keep it real. We'll see you in the next one.